What if Luffy was reborn with all his current powers and memories? How would that impact the entire storyline? There are unlimited possibilities with this, but you don't have to worry about it. In this video, we've gathered 3 alternate timelines in which Luffy gets reborn with all his powers and memories. Without any further ado, let's dive right into it. In the first timeline, Luffy gets reborn with all his memories and powers. Luffy is born in the Fuchsia village, just like the original timeline, but in this timeline, he remembers everything. He knows what will happen in the future, his crew members, all the enemies he fought, and the heartbreak of losing Ace. Besides this, he keeps all of his powers. Year 5, all 3 types of haki, and years of battle experience. Even in a child's body, he's a seasoned warrior with the heart of a hero. When Shanks visits Fuchsia village, Luffy's bond with him becomes deeper. He doesn't just admire him, he warns him about dangers like Blackbeard and the future war at Marineford. But who would trust a little kid about all this? Shanks still realizes there's something different about this kid. In the original timeline, Luffy consumes the Gomu Gomu no Mi accidentally. However, in this alternate universe, he consumes it, knowing that it's the devil fruit that possesses the power to change the entire world. When Luffy sets out on his journey, the difference is clear. He beats Alvida with a flick, saves Zoro instantly, and gathers his crew much faster. He helps Nami defeat Arlong before the villagers suffer too much. He teaches Usopp courage early, and inspires Sanji to chase his dreams beyond just protecting the Baratie. He even introduces the idea of haki to them way earlier than in the original story. By the time they enter the Grand Line, the Straw Hats are already monsters. Crocodile? Taken out easily with Rio. Enel? No match for Gear 5. CP9 doesn't even push Luffy to go all out. He still fights with passion, but now he thinks ahead and avoids unnecessary risks. And most importantly, he never leaves anyone behind. The biggest change comes at Marineford. Luffy plans everything in advance. He brings allies like Hancock and Ivankov, and even tries to work with Whitebeard more strategically. When the battle begins, Luffy doesn't just charge blindly. He uses Future Sight to dodge a Kainu, advanced Conqueror's Haki to clash with Admirals, and saves Ace before he's ever hit. Ace and Luffy escape together. The world is shocked. The Marines lose a huge opportunity, and Luffy's name spreads like wildfire. He becomes a symbol of hope, not just for pirates, but for people suffering under the world government. From there, Luffy continues his journey toward Laugh Tale, but now he's more than just a pirate chasing a dream. He's fighting to reshape the world. He helps Fishman Island avoid destruction, speeds up Wano's liberation, and brings people together. He's still goofy, still kind, still obsessed with meat, but now he's a leader of legend, someone who knows how the story ends, and is writing a new one. Now, this is the ideal timeline, in which Luffy is good and doesn't get corrupted by his own power. But what if he actually does get corrupted? In the second timeline, we will discuss what happens if Luffy gets corrupted by his own power. Luffy is reborn in Fuchsia village, with all his memories from his past life. But instead of feeling happy about getting a second chance, he feels angry. He remembers the pain of losing Ace, being too weak to save people, and the lies of the world government and how unfair the world really was. Now that he's back, with all his powers, he decides things are going to be different. This time, he's going to take control, no matter what it takes. He still has Gear 5, all 3 types of haki, and the battle experience of someone who fought through the entire Grand Line. But instead of using that strength to help others, he uses it to crush anyone in his way. When he sets off on his journey, he doesn't care about making friends. He builds a crew, but only picks the ones he knows are strong or useful. He treats them more like tools than family. Zoro and the others follow, but the warmth they had in the original story is gone. Luffy's not the same guy anymore. He beats enemies like Arlong, Crocodile, and Enel easily, not to protect anyone, but to prove a point. If someone gets in his way, they're gone. He doesn't hold back, and he doesn't care about the damage he causes. His dream isn't just to become Pirate King, it's to rule the seas and make sure no one can ever hurt him or his loved ones ever again. He starts making moves early. He hunts down Blackbeard before Marineford ever happens and wipes him out. He kills off threats before they grow. The world government has no idea what's coming. When the Marineford War does happen, Luffy doesn't rush in recklessly like before. This time, he comes with a full plan, stronger allies, and no mercy. He saves Ace, but he doesn't stop there. He goes after Akainu, the Admirals, and destroys the Marineford base itself. He wants revenge, and he gets it. From that day on, the world changes. Luffy becomes a terrifying name. Pirates fear him, Marines avoid him, and even the Yonko know he's dangerous. He takes down Kaido and Big Mom, not to free Wano or protect anyone, but to expand his own power. He starts taking territories and becomes a ruler, not a freedom-loving pirate. Even his own crew starts to feel the difference. Some members leave, others stay, but they know Luffy isn't the same person they once looked up to. He still protects his crew, but there's no laughter, no parties, just control. He becomes Pirate King, but not the kind people sing about. He's feared across the world, and while the seas are more peaceful, it's only because everyone is too afraid to stand up to him. The boy who once smiled at the sky now rules it with an iron fist. The reason Luffy does all this is to protect his loved ones, his entire crew, and the people who are dear to him. He knows that he gets too attached to people. He'll get hurt eventually, and to avoid that, he keeps a distance from them and protects them from afar. In the previous two scenarios, we witnessed Luffy's good and evil versions. However, there's a huge possibility that Luffy becomes none of that and becomes someone unrecognizable. We know what happens to people who have power. They get betrayed. Something similar happens to Luffy. This third scenario begins as Luffy is reborn with all his memories and powers. At first, he's the same old Luffy. Fun-loving, goofy, always chasing meat and freedom. But now he's smarter. He knows how dangerous the world is, and uses that knowledge to prepare better. He trains his crew early, helps them awaken Haki sooner, and quickly wipes out enemies like Crocodile and Enel. He still wants to be Pirate King, but there's something deeper this time. He wants to protect Ace no matter what. He believes that with his memories and strength, he can change the future, and for a while it works. Everything's going better. He builds trust with allies, makes smarter moves, and plans ahead. Watching everything unfold from afar is Shanks, the man who inspired Luffy, the symbol of freedom and peace. But this time, Shanks is different too. Shanks knows all the truth. Maybe he saw the future through mysterious means tied to the One Piece. But in his heart, Shanks believes Luffy is the key to saving the world. But Shanks sees something else too. Luffy's love for Ace is weakening him. He's fighting too emotionally. He's not thinking like someone destined to change the world. He's thinking like a boy who just wants to protect his brother. So Shanks makes a decision, a terrible one. He steps into Marineford pretending to help. Luffy is relieved to see him. He trusts him more than anyone. But when the moment comes, when Ace is almost free, it's Shanks who intervenes. In one shocking, heartbreaking moment, Shanks kills Ace. The battlefield goes silent. Luffy breaks. Shanks tells Luffy the truth, not to be cruel, but because he loves him in a twisted way. He says the world needs a god, not a brother. You were never meant to save him. You were meant to save everyone else. Then Shanks leaves, not to fight, but to push Luffy to grow. Luffy falls apart with grief. Everything he believed in is broken. His brother is gone. Not because he wasn't strong enough, but because someone he loved chose to take him away. This moment changes Luffy forever. He stops seeing the world with innocent eyes, and stops chasing the dream of becoming Pirate King. Instead, he aims higher, to change the whole world. Not to rule it, but to destroy the system that let this happen. He becomes a storm. Luffy stops laughing and trusting. He gathers a new crew made of outcasts and broken people who lost everything like him. He still protects the weak and fights for what's right, but now without mercy. He hunts celestial dragons, fights marines, and finally targets the man who made him this way, Shanks. Their final battle is more than a fight. It's a tragedy between two men who loved each other but took different paths. Shanks wanted to push Luffy to be great, but Luffy believed no one should decide his fate. When it's over, Luffy stands alone. He doesn't take the One Piece or sit on a throne. At this point, Luffy wants nothing. The entire goal was to destroy the entire world and take revenge for his brother, and he did that. If we think realistically, Scenario 1 seems the most feasible, but we can't ignore the fact that the One Piece world is a cruel place, and something like Scenario 2 and 3 could still happen. Let me know which scenario is your favorite. Until next time!